The memories of Samuel Wazizi that disappeared are still very much present in the heads of Cameroonians, just like the memories of the Ngabo massacre, not forgetting the memories of the brutal killings of journalist Martinez Zogo, who is yet to be buried. And this week, Cameroonians were once again shocked with a viral video portraying the torture of music artist Longue Longue. Many tongues have been waxing over such an inhuman treatment on a legend, a music legend like Longue Longue, and many are asking questions. If that could happen to Longue Longue, what more of a common Cameroonian who got no voice? You are watching 360 Degrees, and we are beaming live from Douala. And today we are focusing on how did we get ourselves here as Cameroonians, as a country? What image are we projecting with such barbarism? Do not move a muzzle.
3 weeks after the adoption of the divisional officer of Idiabato in the Bakassi Peninsula, pirates have...
You're welcome back. And we have some ladies and gentlemen today that will be helping us in the topic of today. And before we do that, we shall go back to visit some of the key news elements of the week, notably that portraying the torture of Longue Longue.
3 weeks after the adoption of the divisional officer of Idiabato in the Bakassi Peninsula, pirates have requested the sum of 1.9 billion francs CFA should Ewane Roland be released. Members of the Dragon Fighters Marine, who claimed the Bakassi October 1, 2024 attacks, have issued additional demands, including the release of the associate currently held at the Boya Central Prison, a flying boat, plus 10 generators for the two adopted to be set free. Since October 1, 2024, when the divisional officer Ewane Roland and the council store's accountant Etongo Ismael were kidnapped, Idiabato has been a shadow of itself. Economic activities grounded, business places closed, defense and security forces intensifying patrol in both land and maritime space as piracy remains the main security challenge here at Idiabato. Ewane Roland, divisional officer of Idiabato, and Etongo Ismael council staff are still under captivity, but the recent development brings some relief to the family, clearing uncertainty on the fact that they are still alive. Family members of the adopted expect a happy end to this matter. It is worth noting that Cameroon and Nigeria are working hand in glove to ensure the release of the adopted divisional officer and the council staff.
Cry of agony and pain. Music artist Longue Longue, half undressed, sits on the ground, begs for the torture meted on him to stop. This video has gone viral since Wednesday, October 23rd. It is set to date as far back as 2019. The engaged artist, known for his interest in social causes, shared the video on his social media. His cries for help seem not to move the still unidentified perpetrators, men who, with the help of their feet and a machete, beat up the artist mercilessly under a chair where he is handcuffed. The video has shocked many Cameroonians, sparking widespread condemnations with calls for the arrest of the perpetrators of this act, which tramples the right and freedom of every individual. The Cameroonian Renaissance Movement Party's president, Maurice Kamto, took to his social media to firmly denounce police barbarism against the artist Longue Longue and demands an urgent investigation. Cabralibi of the PCRN also expressed indignation, denouncing cruelty and inhumanity. Civil society actors, stakeholders of the entertainment industry, and numerous Cameroonians are calling for justice for the artist.
Torture has been a deeply entrenched issue in Cameroon since the colonial era. The use of physical and psychological abuse to extract confessions or critical information from detainees has persisted for decades and remains a central feature of the country's investigative process. According to Harriet Ekwe, a senior journalist and political activist, this brutal treatment was inherited from colonial rulers.
You have people there who have been trained to exert terror on you. If you don't accept that you have done it, they'll take you to have what they call le café. They'll beat you. This torture in Cameroon came from the Nazi regime, the Gestapo regime. When French people, when after the Second World War, black African people were standing for independence, they just implement what they have seen with the Nazis.
Harriet Ekwe, who experienced detention in the 1970s and 80s, vividly recalls the harsh conditions and the inhumane treatment she endured.
I was a UPC member, so they used to be very violent with UPC violent. We were two of us, Anise Kane and myself. The day I came in the police station, they started beating me. I was not even able to say a word. I was laid down and the commissaire was jumping on my back. It was so violent. This is the way that the policemen use to make sure that they don't have to make any inquiries.
Human rights organizations have repeatedly condemned Cameroon for these actions, pointing to numerous cases where detainees' rights were violated. The latest incident to draw widespread attention is a viral video showing the torture of Cameroonian artist Longue Longue.
Torture is forbidden in our country. It's an offense provided by code for penal code and all legal codes. Those who are convicted may be punished. They need to respect the rights of people.
Cameroon has faced growing criticism from the international community, with many urging the country to adopt more transparent practices and to hold those responsible for human rights violations accountable.
You're welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is 360 Degrees on Canal International, and we are beaming live from the economic capital, Douala. We go straight to welcome our guests. I have a gentleman and a lady present in the studio right away. Let's begin. Let's give honor to the lady, Barrister. Yes, I have Madame NDONGMO Sylvie Jacqueline. She is the president of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom. Madame Sylvie, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Hyncenth, and greetings to you and all the Canal televiewers and to my co-panelists. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you so much. By my left, I have Barrister TAMFU Richard. Barrister TAMFU Richard is a human rights lawyer and equally a politician who militates with the PCRN. You're welcome, Barrister.
Thank you, Mr. Hyncenth, and it's always an honor for me and a pleasure to be on your platform. I hope that the topic of today, which we all know has gone very viral, will be one that we should be able to edify, especially the audience that are watching. I wish to also extend my sympathy to all the Cameroonians who are also victims of this barbaric form of treatment, because today we are projecting Longue Longue because maybe it's an artist. But if you want to count the number of cases that we witness, especially since the outbreak of the ongoing Anglophone crisis, they are horrible situations that you can only have your eyes to cry when you are faced with such a kind of attitude. So to me, I believe that it's really a topic that should really call the attention of all the authorities that be and any concerned Cameroonian, because here we are not talking about politics. We are talking here about an act of the society that in a normal society, whether you're a politician or not,
Yeah.
you should be able to live in a state that can protect you.
Yeah.
So if you are in a state that cannot protect you, then there is a call for concern, because it means that anyone can be a victim.
Yeah.
So if we all accept that the bottom line should be that let us have a state which can protect its citizens, protect their properties. Let us have a state where no one is above the law, that all of us are under the same, we are equal before the law, and that we should not accept such acts of barbarism, because this is cruel even and inhumane.
Let me just begin with you. When you watched that video, what was your immediate reaction?
Yes, my immediate reaction was that, first of all, I could not even believe my eyes, because I'm a lawyer. I said, but is this possible in a country like ours as a lawyer? And when I went through the video critically, I was able to identify the artist Longe, which I know very well. And I said, but what could be the cost of such an attitude? And after listening to what he was crying and the names he were calling, I said, but these are military personnel, which in principle are the ones who are supposed to implement the law, not to torture someone.
Sure.
So nothing can explain such an attitude from law enforcement officers and whosoever. Cameroon has a constitution. Cameroon has a head of state.
Yeah.
Who is the one to guarantee that all citizens are protected and their properties are also protected?
Yeah.
So if we have been having these forms of torture repeatedly, it's simply because the head of state, who is the guarantor of our liberties, has not hit the hand on the table. Because today we are seeing the case of Longe, but before Longe, we have had other cases.
Yeah.
And we will still have outings of government officials that will come and tell you, oh, investigations are open, but we have not seen concretely what has been done to those people so that it details them. Imagining what happened to the Ngarabu case, we all of us know that it's still pending in court. So after a long while, the matter is still in court. You had cases of this journalist Wazizi, which up to now, despite government communication, we have not had anything about it. The most recent one is even Martinez Zogo. So if people who are considered, or the perpetrators who are caught in such acts are not being punished in a severe way, then he will not deter some other people to still do it. Know that, okay, we will do it. Since this person is a no-name, I can torture him, and if he even dies, nobody will care. So I think this case of Longe should be the drop of water that has overflowed, and that state authorities should act with all the necessary force to make sure that the perpetrator should be punished to say the least.
Thank you so much. Madam Sylvie, before we look at Longe, like the artist, like the legend, let's look at Longe in that video like a family man. How will, when people carry out such an act, how do you expect him to feel or to relate with his immediate family? Talk less of Cameroonians as a whole, where he is well celebrated.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm not even related to him as an artist. Just a human being.
Sure.
He's a human being. He's a brother, he's a sister, and he's a father. He's a father. Can you imagine the psychological situation in which the children, the family members are watching this video? So when I watched it, I was simply horrified and also worried. Honestly, I'm very worried when I see this type of video. Like Barrister said, where are we? Where are we in a country like Cameroon? Where are we? What image do we want to project for our country? On a daily basis, we are accused of doing this against our country, but this is a great testimony that we are not the one. Look at police officers. When we have to do with either police or gendarmerie or military, we normally need to feel safe. We need to feel safe in their hands. Even if you have done wrong, there are ways to punish or to address matters. Not this way. It's pure torture. And I'm so worried. Why? One of the reasons is that we are in a country already so challenged by conflict, both internal conflict and external conflicts. So this is coming to add, like Barbary says, another drop, yes, to the already boiling situation, which is not helping Cameroon. I'm so worried, especially as you know that there is a meeting going on in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time in Geneva, where the Cameroon government is going to present its report on torture. So how do you want Cameroon to look like? But of course, I want to make a very great difference. We are talking about some military people, not all. I don't want to make it very general.
The bad seats.
Yes, because there are always bad seats. So it's very important that those bad seats are identified and treated accordingly. And that's why I salute greatly the Minister of Defense, who took upon him to say that let's see into this affair. It's already a step.
Yeah. Okay, Barrister, before I come to you, let's welcome Mr. NDIWUM EMMANUEL. NDIWUM EMMANUEL is a civil society actor. We understand the Douala traffic and all that.
Yes,
he's coming in late. You're welcome.
It's terrible. Thank you very much, Hyncenth. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, and I greet my co-panelists. At a situation where we find ourselves, Cameroonians need to summon the courage and say no. There is always a time to say enough is enough. And to think that I am a father. The last time I learned of how people were dehumanized publicly was in history. And that was in the time of the Germans. And you realize that they met with stiff resistance. Yeah. That was then. What then and what more will be of 2024, where we are all supposed to be civilized. Unfortunately, in the hands of uncivilized administrators, we find ourselves where we are today. And just to cue, you know, when I look at this topic, it took me memory lane back to the issue of La Piro de Banga. Millions of Cameroonians have been tortured to death. Some have been tortured psychologically and even in their spirit. They are dead, even though they are walking. They are walking corpses, many of them produced by the Cameroon government. Cameroon government is a kind of government that has chosen to throw away all the talented ones so that the chaffs can sit on us. The cases are many. Richard Bona is one of the finest minds who is out of the country pursued for his ideologies. And Longer just happened to be a victim. I want to think, like my co-panelist said a while ago, we were supposed to feel safer when we are in the hands of the police, the gendarme, and the military. Unfortunately, torture seems to be the first lesson in their curriculum. I am proposing that us as teachers, as we are trying that the curriculum of the country be changed, the curriculum of ENAM must be changed. It should start from up. The curriculum in the police colleges, the gendarme colleges must be changed. Because if...
Are you trying to say they are not appropriately trained?
They are not appropriately trained. If they were appropriately trained, the appropriate lessons would be dispensed on the field. How they act, how they execute their functions. I want to tell you that policemen fight in Douala every day with civilians. And at the end of the day, if you hear that the civilian is not in jail, it's because the civilian was on his right. And I mean, just to tell you that if we revisit the cases of torture in the Anglophone crisis, Sam Sawyer was beheaded. Somebody who was caught alive. In the military or in the judicial college, they are taught when a criminal or a culprit is caught alive, he used for exploit. Barrister can substantiate. He's used for exploitation reasons so that the chain can be dismantled. How explain the fact that somebody is caught alive? You behead the person. You film it again. You put it on social media. That is to tell the world that Cameroon is a state of torture. When you talk of gestapo, it called me to the Nazi regime, which remains the worst in the world so far. That is a situation where the uniformed men in 1936, in order to protect the Hitler's Nazi party, were given a right above the law so that they could execute anybody without judicial view. And exactly that is the state at which we are leading to Cameroon. And I want to think that when you rule people for so long a time and you discover that the people are no longer with you, appease them before you quit the stage. If you cannot appease them, run away. If you cannot run away, go down publicly and tell Cameroonians, I am sorry, I have failed, and I'm thinking that you people should not pursue me.
Anyway,
don't lead people into chaos.
Okay. Anyway, Emmanuel, I'm coming back to you. Barrister, I want us to look at the legal framework binding torture and intimidation in Cameroon and how effective this is.
You know that Cameroon has the best laws.
Yeah.
We have a penal code. When you look at that penal code, sections 277, I think sub 3, punishes torture, and in a severe way. So it's not like there are no legal instruments, be it at the national level or even at the international level. We have texts that regulate torture. And what is funny is that those who are caught in this kind of act continue to perpetrate this kind of action simply because the authorities that be, when they have a situation like this one, they will not hit hard. Had it been, because everything is clear.
Yeah.
Had it been on previous cases, for example, like the Martinez-Zewo case, that also make a lot of waves. It is true, the suspected persons have been arrested, they are still under trial, but it's still, the family, the immediate family, or even Cameroonians are still waiting to know exactly what is the sentence that will be given to them. Had it been some of these cases were treated meticulously, showing that, okay, if you are caught in such an act, this is the immediate sanction and coming very timely, you will see that people will, the uniform people will have another perception of managing maybe some suspected criminals or whatsoever, because there is a law that protects, there is a law that condemns it. You can be imprisoned from right up to even 10 years imprisonment. Now, when now it is being done by uniform persons, I think their responsibility should even be double because they're supposed to know that torture is forbidden.
Yeah.
But you see that they take pleasure in carrying such acts, showing it on media, and they know that the highest thing they'll do is a communique that will come out, maybe investigations will carry,
that's what I wanted.
Time is going to heal the wounds, and at the end of the day, we'll still come back to we'll still wait another scenario or scene.
When you look at such an action being carried out and filmed,
yes,
is it a sort of justification to somebody, or what is the essence of filming such?
They are doing it because they take pleasure in doing that. Those persons are inhumane. To them, there's a demonstration to tell you that you are nothing. We can do away with your life when we want. And I think that in a country like us, that's not what we are living in the 21st century where we think that we have passed those stages. We are now more of civilized persons. We cannot accept that a country like Cameroon being a state of law, because that's what is being said every day, and we have officers or officials who cannot uphold the rule of law. I expected a communication maybe from the Ministry of Defense.
I think he did.
Even he did it.
Yes.
A communication also from maybe the Ministry of Communication or Tourism, or arts and culture. So that we see that when we have some other cases, for example, if it is a citizen, we saw of recent how citizens were being talking about the head of state and all the like. We saw how all the ministers they came out. These kinds of act we also want to see all those ministers coming out to say no. The concerns should be punished, and not only punished, he punished in time, so that when they send this strong message, I'm sure that others will be afraid, because you know, like I said, Cameroon has a constitution. We have a law that forbids torture. And who is the guarantor or the protector of this law? Is the President of the Republic. And worst of it, the President of the Republic is a chief of armed forces. So if you have military personnel who are committing such acts, you agree with me that at least the President of the Republic, if he does not act severely, then his own responsibility also is being held. He should be seen acting and make sure that these kind of persons are punished.
Madam Sylvie, when this is happening to Longue Longue, that has a voice, because we cannot undermine the fact that Longue Longue is a music legend and has a voice. What becomes of the Cameroonians? I think Longue Longue has the social responsibility to speak for Cameroonians, because even going by his subtitle, he calls himself the Liberator. Now, if this is happening to Longue Longue, what becomes of the common man down there who does not have a voice?
Yeah, I think this is just a testimony for us to know the extent to which this type of cases happen on a daily basis. We are talking about Longue Longue, and he's outspoken because he's a legend. He's an artist and he's well known. There are many who suffer in silence because they have no voice, because they are threatened.
Yeah.
I know many are threatened on a daily basis, but because they don't have a voice. So for me, it calls on us as civil society, as media people, men and women, as all the stakeholders to really take the bull by the horn and know that this is a serious case study, because this is a serious situation, I mean, in our country. And this is just one case out of so many, and we should really worry as Cameroonian. No, as Barrister said, you asked the question about the instrument. We have so many, even just our constitution. We are equal, right? Yes, yeah. And we cannot be submitted to torture. We take the penal code. We have a UN convention against torture. Exactly. And degrading treatment. And as I indicated, on the 13th and 14th of November 2024, Cameroon is going to present its report. Yes. In the Committee Against Torture. What image? So I want to say again here that, speaking as civil society actor, we work on a daily basis to support government efforts, but we are accused regularly of painting a negative image of Cameroon. Now, I want to ask a question. Between this military torturing Longue and civil society working on a daily basis to support their government, who is portraying a negative image of Cameroon?
That's what I was about to ask you. Have you ever been maybe threatened or intimidated for carrying out your activism?
Oh my God. You want me to say what? I've been threatened in
Just share with us your experience, yeah.
Oh my God. You want me to share my experience?
Yes, very important.
Yeah, honestly, I just want to say that, and to remind all the televiewers and the government that we are in, to say that we are working on a daily basis. I'm speaking on behalf, I'm sure, of civil society organizations who work on different areas to support. I want to take just one example. Our organization in Cameroon, Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, was able to support the Cameroon government to have the National Action Plan on 1325 Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security, to make sure that there are more peace initiatives taken in Cameroon by women with a framework called a National Action Plan. This is one initiative. We have been able to carry out many activities to help children without birth certificate to have birth, and many, many more. So in face of these activities, how are we accused? Yes, but for example, I want to take the case of the birth certificate. I never knew that helping children to have birth certificate was an issue in Cameroon. I thought that when we were conducting this project, we thought we were doing something very good. To be uploaded. To be uploaded. But this project is one of the projects that has brought us so many security challenges, because our office was broken so many times to take our computers, to take our USB keys, and so on and so forth. So it happens again when we conducted the Women's Situation Room, and we had a hotline number. We had a hotline numbers when the voters were on the field and calling the room, the call center, just to tell us about the situation that are happening on the field, so that we in our turn were able to talk to the authorities to say that there is something not going on well. Can you take action to stop the violence? I personally received threatening calls. People call on the hotline number to say, Madam, be very careful. We have an eye on you. Yes, we know you are working for the Western world. So there are many, many cases. But I'm not scared, because I know very well that I'm doing my bit. Which is genuine. Each and every Cameroonian should do its bit. And that is why we are having these situations. Longue now has a case. And many more have this case. We have to stand up at one. So if we shy away, all of us, no, we are not helping anyone. We should stand up and make our voice heard, and make sure that we do everything, of course, respecting the rules and regulations of our country, which we do. For sure.
NDIWUM Emmanuel, we have a duty to protect the image of this country. How do we do that with all these human rights abuses?
At the moment we are talking, Cameroon has no image to be protected. Let's be sincere.
How can you say that?
We have an image. We have to try to rebuild an image for Cameroon.
Okay.
The image everybody knows of Cameroon is the image of barbarism, torture, corruption, bribery. But it comes back to us as a civic responsibility to struggle to build an image. Cameroon has no image as of now, because even those who are leading the country, they have no image. I will be sincere. That said, if we were to build an image of Cameroon, there is a lot that needs to be done. If you have a football team that has failed to win a particular match for a long time in a tournament, the next thing you have to do is you dissolve the team, sit back, rebuild the team, and then give a new impetus to the new field, to the new team to get to the field. Unfortunately, I don't know whether Cameroon's problems are spiritual or they are physical, because I've been wondering for so long. I am in my early 40s. The same people who started failing my mothers when I was 4 months old are the same people failing my kids today. Well, I mean, you cannot be talking about an image of building in Cameroon. Like I said, a lot of people have gone through thick and thin in Cameroon. Longe happens to be one of the people I call a whistleblower. And I'm disappointed because the music industry has been silent after seeing all of this. It's a disappointment. The president of that industry comes from my place, Jinicom, Ate Bazo. And I think if he's watching this program, I want to tell him that he has been sleeping for so long. Such a thing would have warranted that we see the solidarity that exists in the musical corps or in the artistic corps in Cameroon. We have not seen it. And this explains why the regime keeps working on us, dragging our ears to any direction. They have discovered, they have tested, they have seen, because there's always a beginning for everything. They tested once, it went successfully. Nobody complained. But I want to tell you that this thing is one of the tortures, just too much amongst a million. And it's so humiliating for an icon. A lot of things, this man is humiliated for his ideas. They will tell you that Cameroon is a state of freedom of speech. And I will tell you that they have offered us freedom of talking, not freedom of speech. Where there is freedom of speech in the real countries that are governed, freedom of speech warrants that you match it with action when it's not going. I should have my right to go down and protest after speaking. But what we are doing here is mere talking. If after this talking, I go down, that's freedom of speech. But if I go down, you know where I will end up. And it's very sad in a country where they projected somebody to us to be remembered as the person who brought democracy. And at the end of the day, we discover that we are below the line of democracy. Even in the country like Sudan, where guns are speaking every day, the level of freedom of speech, that people still go out and demonstrate. And I want, before you take the microphone, I want to think that if Cameroonians think that your problem remains your problem and my problem remains my problem, and they cannot stand up together as one man to defend fatherland, where we have been disfathered in our own land, in our own fatherland, if they don't rise up as one man, before 2025 faces out, I am telling you, some of us, we are already taking this platform to be announcing, because we have been threatened million times. And we are saying that we will not relent if we don't stand up to fight for each other. I don't want to know whether it's a journalist, it's a lawyer. Once a Cameroonian finds himself in such a situation, all Cameroonians will rise up and say, no, stop. Enough is enough. In a peaceful way, by the way. No, let me clarify that. Yes. I have been standing up every day. Even on this studio, I'm standing up. Yes. This is my own way of standing up. Good. So I do not mean that people go to the streets. Yeah, good. So because I know how they interpret their own. Barrister, Cameroon is a state of law. No one can argue that.
That's the principle.
Yes, Cameroon is a state of law. Now, if at all Longe stood or stepped on certain toes, why would the people take the laws into their hands to go the hard way?
That's exactly the same question I have. Nothing can explain that. Because the principle is that Cameroon is a state of law.
Yes.
And Cameroon has the obligation to uphold the rule of law. So if Longe stepped into the toes of whosoever or committed an offense, which to me, I believe he hasn't, then follow the legal process to judge him. We have the courts. We have investigations that can be carried out in all fairness. But when they decide to exercise torture on this, it's just to tell you that we are living not in a democracy. We are living in a country where we cannot talk about be in a state of law. We're living in a country that some people think they are the gods of others. We are living in a country where some other things that others have come to accompany them to live. Because nothing will explain, even when you have the hardened criminals, you have arrested the highest criminal, I don't think that is the way you have to dehumanize him, treat him as if we are in a lawless state. So to me, I say we will be beaten left and right, whereas we know who is responsible. To me, somebody is I can say he's the supreme, who is the president of the republic. Your citizens cannot be crying that we are abused every day. We are facing maybe natural disasters. We don't feel secured. Our properties are not secured. And you have never, or you continue to give deaf ears even up to this dying moment. Today, we are talking about longer, maybe because it's an artist. What about those who are the no-names? Even us, the lawyers, you go to police station, you see how your client is being tortured, but you are helpless. So we behave as if these things are not new.
Yes, just to add that, from the reaction of the president of the Cameroon Bar Association condemning the act, he equally made mention of the fact that a few days ago, a lawyer was tortured at Bafia. And then, I wanted to come in because the Cameroon Bar Association, reacting to the outing of the Minister of Defense, said they are going to strictly follow up to make sure that actions are taken against the culprits. How far can the Cameroon Bar go in that fight?
Well, the Cameroon Bar is an institution.
Yes.
Like other institutions. We will not act in isolation.
Yes.
The Cameroon Bar is not the one to open investigations. The Cameroon Bar can just follow up the case to make sure that government is put under necessary pressure to do what it's supposed to do. Maybe we have been announced that investigations will open. What the Cameroon Bar can do is to make sure that there is actually a police case that has opened, and to make sure that Longue has the opportunity to come and defend himself, because he's out of the country. He himself already, first of all, will not feel secured coming back.
Yes.
So the rule of the Cameroon Bar at that time now will be to make sure that Longue gets the necessary legal assistance possible to make sure that if he has anything to claim or if there's justice to be served on him, let it be served in all fairness and transparency. That's what the Cameroon Bar can do.
Thank you so much, Madam Sylvie. Before I come to you, let's take one reaction. We have many. Good afternoon to you guys in the studio. Wazizi and Martinez were tortured to death. Many guys, especially from the Northwest and Southwest, are going through this horror. Popular Longue tortured. What about the common man like you and I? This is coming from Winka Edwin from Fumbot. Madam Sylvie, the minister delegate at the presidency in charge of defense, says immediate investigations are being opened to bring the culprits to book. Personally, what do you expect from that investigation?
No, for me, the good thing is that at least he has called for an investigation, which is already a step. Yeah, because for so many years, there have been just loud impunity, really loud impunity, and just calling for the inquiry is already a step. And the challenge now, how will the outcome of the inquiry look like? What are they going to do with the outcome of the inquiry? Like my brother said here, it is because impunity continues to be the rule. The minute people will know that they are going to be punished for such horrors, I'm very, very sure that people will start limiting their actions, honestly. So I think it's high time that we all, especially those in power, really take cognizance of the fact that we are passing through difficult time in Cameroon, and we are fueling the conflict. We are fueling the difficult situation by this type of situation. The auditor, the person who wrote, is right. Yes, Longue, we can speak about him, but many others can have issue. No one will even know that is happening. And when we know what happens, so I think that calling for an inquiry is already a step, and I'm sure that it's also as a result of speaking out. Contrary to what my brother said, I saw many artists really stood up to say, no, this is not okay. Maybe, yeah, okay, yeah, you are right, you are right. In terms of institution, right? Okay, great. So just to say that it's important that for once, this inquiry comes out with concrete results and that the authors are punished. I'm telling you that if there are sanctions, I'm very sure that this is going to go a long way to stop this type of practices.
Let me take this short message before I come to you. The artist case is only shocking because we had the video.
Yes.
This is a message to say a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes, if you know some of us, if today we are still alive with this ongoing Anglophone crisis, it shows that our ancestors and the God is still really watching on us. Because some of the things we have met on the field in Northwest, we cannot say them on air. I am telling you that there was a time in Northwest that the actions of the military were qualified as happy beating, happy killing.
How do you beat somebody happily?
Yes, which means that at one point in time, they could just suspect that there was an amber in this area. As they storm the area, whether they find the suspected amber or not, everybody there is beaten to near death. And the kind of, this beating, like that person said that he's very correct. Longer is only fortunate because somebody filmed it and sent it. There are worse cases than what longer went through. I'm telling you, if somebody close to let Lapiro de Banga extends to you what he went through, and you equally got the case of one Ebala and what he went through, to discover that this one happens to be like the time of God to expose certain things. And I equally think that as the time of God has it, it is happening this time in the French part of the country. And the noise is going, they are making a lot of noise about it. A lot of such cases have been happening in Norwest and Southwest since the war that was declared there. And a lot of people have been silent. Cameroonians are used to torture. They are used to torture because there is no other option for them. They do not know who to run to again. The institutions of the state have failed to protect the citizens. So, even the law-abiding citizens at one point find it. Let me tell you, longer, saying that Maurice Kamto won election is his opinion, and nobody should be tortured for his opinion. Why should we be tortured for our truth? Longer, saying that La Forêt de Yabassi, and you all know these things, if you put them together, if you see the exploitation that was done in the Yabassi forest till date, and I was in Southwest in Manyeme recently, the trucks that harvest trees, that fell trees from that part of Tinto, can you imagine what the Southwest man will feel like? Seeing trees cut down from your region and it is written there Ebolowa. These are things that can be verified. I am telling you. Which means that somewhere those trees are supposed to be read as harvested from Ebolowa. And all of this put together, I don't think if Longer has the courage to say them, he should become a victim of torture. In a wise government, they would have used his ideas. They would have used what he has exposed as weakness to change what they have been doing wrong, to right the wrongs. Unfortunately, in Cameroon, when you speak, you saw it was in your media house when a young man qualified President Biya as God, as more than God, arriving as more than God in Jerusalem. A young man who has never been in Jerusalem. And you see that all of these things, when they are killing the young man now on social media, say all of this, he is saying it because one, he wants to eat, he's hungry. He's a hungry young man, he wants to eat. And because he wants to eat, he must sing the song of the regime. Two, he's afraid that if he say the truth, the little food that has been put into his hand can be withdrawn. That is the level at which the present regime has reduced Cameroonians to, so that they can sing the song that they like, which is sad. It doesn't develop a country. A country is never developed on lies or on a tourist, conspiracy theories. It is not done.
Yes, Barrister, before I come to you, yes, you are itching to react. Maybe just to add to what you want to react on.
Yes.
How do we build a country with the fear of the unknown?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on what he said.
Yeah.
To say that this is portraying a kind of, the root causes of this are hidden somewhere. Not why are they torturing Cameroonians? Because they are speaking out. And why are Cameroonians speaking out? Because they have an issue. I want to take a few examples.
Okay.
Natural disorder, flood everywhere in Cameroon. Many people dying, no house. What is happening to them?
Accidents.
Feminicide, road accident,
Yeah.
poor roads. I saw a lawyer yesterday say that he spent 3 hours between Douala and Edea. I witnessed that. Yes.
Possible.
Inflation. Yes. Can we eat in Cameroon?
Artificial inflation.
Inflation. Very good. Artificial inflation. Maternal mortality. Poor access to health facilities. So this is why we are suffocating. Cameroonians are suffocating. And because they are suffocating, they just want to live a happy life, to have the minimum basic. So whether you torture them or not, it's not going to change anything. And I'm worried because we call it latent. In peace building, it's latent conflict because you are preventing something from bursting. But whether you like it or not, it will burst.
If no way handled. Yeah.
No, it's important that we are conscious of that and conscious of the situation in which, because there's no point just taking a piece of paper to prevent the sun from shining. You will not stop the sun from shining.
Okay.
Thank you.
Barrister, he made mention of the fact that men are dying in silence. Now, as a lawyer, as a human rights lawyer, how many of these victims come up to you, maybe to say, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm going through?
Severally. I've had several cases of persons who cannot put forward this kind of complaint. If I want to cite them here, we'll take the whole of
And how do you handle that?
Well, in my own small capacity as a lawyer,
Yeah.
I will do what is possible best. I can cite some of those cases. You remember, especially with the Anglophone crisis. Many innocent persons today are in prison simply because they were found in the wrong place. Many persons today are in those prisons undergoing torture simply because nobody could stand and speak for them. So I have done that. If I want to count, I don't think I will be able to count. Yeah. But what I want to let Cameroonians know is that it is true. We can be tortured on repeated instances. I think this case of Longue Longue, which is a famous artist, should be that wake-up call that Cameroonians wake up. People are sleeping. How can you accept that the person who is driving you in a car, for example, I'm taking the scenario of a car, you have 30 million Cameroonians being driven by somebody who is 91 years old? He's tired. It's just to tell you all these things are happening because we are no more governed. The person who is supposed to protect us is already weak. He's tired. He may not even have, don't even be surprised at this video that is going on. He has not even had the time to see it because he's busy maybe with other things.
He just came back, maybe he had a lot of fights to handle.
Yes, that's why I'm telling you that. But if he was still a young man like you and I or any other person, the person will be able to take his phone and screw and know exactly what is happening in Cameroon. And if something happens like that, he will be able to act accordingly. Just to tell you that Cameroonians should wake up. There is nothing, we have no right to accept to be suffering this kind of torture. We have physical torture, we have psychological torture, we are suffering in all the spheres of life. So, as a solution, he made mention of, he took an example of a football team. The solution is that the regime should change. Let's have a change of regime. Let's have somebody at the head of this country who will be able to protect the constitution, protect our rights in the constitution. And that is possible because we are in the wake of elections. This is the time that Cameroonians today who are condemning or who are saying that this is not good, this is not supposed to happen with the case of Longue Longue, should take action. And taking action is what? Is that be in that capacity to be able to put your own voice when the time comes and say, no, it should not happen.
Are you one of the Cameroonians who see the intimidation and torture as a political weapon?
Of course. When they do like that, how many again will come and say, like, how many of them would take the courage of longer to say that no, elections have been rigged, or what is being done here is not correct? So it's a way to deter Cameroon to say, okay, watch the way you speak. Some of us who even come on this platform, we take a lot of courage. Do you know how when we come here, our family members, they call us and they tell us that be careful, you may be a victim. But we just take that courage because we have the belief, instead of going on exile as others do, we have the courage and believe that no, Cameroon is ours. And I see no reason why I should take the risk of the sea or the desert because I want to express or give my opinion. I think that as a citizen, I have something to be here, and that's why I'm here. So we should take our responsibility. Nobody will come to change the narratives in Cameroon. We will condemn case A. If we don't stand up, another B will come. After longer, if we don't stand up, another one will come. So let the case of longer be the pace setter. Okay. And that Cameroonians should know that if truly we are citizens of this country, then we should not accept such kind of practice. Okay,
Emmanuel, I'll be coming to you. Madam Sylvie, what role can the international institutions of human rights play in this kind of a situation?
Yes, maybe I'll just need to take the example of what I mentioned earlier, that Cameroon is presenting its report on torture in a few weeks. So I think it's about just advocacy and calling on the country to really respect the provision, the legal instrument that the country have enacted. Is important for this support mechanism. The support mechanism is very important in having the possibility of not only making recommendations to Cameroon, but also following up and providing support. And I think that another level can happen. With like the possibility of a long-term support in terms of training, in terms of experience sharing. So I think that Cameroon should be open to also welcome the support from the international community. Most of the time, it's not because the support is not there. Is it welcome? Is it welcome? So I hope that in the next few weeks, when the report comes out, we should be honest enough to say that this is the situation we are going through. How can our military people, how can our police people be trained to avoid, because this is not the role of the police, this is not the role of the military. They are there to support. But I can say that maybe because we are all suffering, in quotes, so some people, because of their relation, have access to some position. Because they have access to this position, maybe they don't know what it takes to be in this position. So the international community can also support, not only in advocacy, but also in long-term support, including training of these military men and so on. I'm talking because I participated in a training where they indicated that the peace, the peace keeping missions in different countries, we know what is their role, peacekeeping. But in most of the cases, the peacekeepers ended up creating a lot of damage in the communities. So at different levels, including at the African Union, at the UN level, took measures to make sure that there is accountability for those people, and also there is a support mechanism, because you don't need to punish only, you should always support people to know what is their role, what they should do and what they should not do. So I think that the international community can support not only through their advocacy and experience sharing, but in a long-term program to really help our military and uniformed men to really do their job at their best.
Okay, let me take this one message. We have many of them. Let the world pray for Cameroon. Cameroon needs deliverance. That's coming from Peter 4 from Bafusa. Okay. NDIWUM Emmanuel, you said Cameroon rather has an image to build, not an image to protect. But as a country, can we do better?
As which country again?
As Cameroon, can we do better with the protection of human rights in Cameroon?
There's always a time that people can do better.
Yes.
Especially when the people discover where they were never doing better. The question should be, are those who have refused to do better accepting and ready to do better? That should be the question.
Of course they can.
Of course they are.
Every human being is tantamount to change. I don't know.
This is what I think. It doesn't mean that as Cameroon has been failing, they cannot do better. I think it's time for the head of state actually, because I've always laid my emphasis on the head of state. If on the eve of school resumption, I have my 2 kids, Kela, Kelin, and Keren. I give them an assignment to buy their books. And at the end of the day, I receive information from the school that they don't have anything in school. It means that I did my job. If at the end of the day, I cannot identify whether they did it or not, it means that as a father, I feel I fathered in vain. If the father of the nation has been sleeping for too long, I have always been against this thing that we are expecting to see the president, like somebody say, as Jesus Christ entering Jerusalem once a year or twice a year. I need a mobile president for Cameroon. When he says I will supervise ring road in Bamenda, let me see him supervising it. You see Diomaye Faye in Senegal doing it. Go down to Gabon.
He's a young man.
Go to Mali. Yes, go down.
Many say he has people he sent to the field.
Which means that
Many say he has people
go
he
down
sent
to
to the
Mali.
field. Yes.
Go down to Burkina Faso. Why am I saying all of this? That person who told Cameroonian youth that none of them could take the presidency, the person lied. Build up yourself with your confidence. Cameroon was not given to be governed by people who are nearer to their graves. I am thinking that in a country of 30 million plus, Mr. Biya has done his best. We must recognize that
And appreciate.
and we must appreciate.
And you should know how
As
to
a
retire.
human rights advocate, it is his right to rest. There is a right to rest. It is inscribed in the constitution.
Are you saying that?
I am
Mr.
telling you.
but I think
Let me finish.
Are you saying that Mr. Biya's right to rest is being violated? At
Has
this
been
point?
usurped. It has been usurped. It has been caged. He has been kidnapped from his right to rest.
That's honest.
And I
That's
think
really,
any Cameroonian who loves Mr. Biya
yeah.
should be telling him that, Papa, we need you as an archive. We need you for advisory reasons, no longer in Etoti. His father's ancestors' tomb was not in Etoti. He must not die there. So I am thinking that all Cameroonians of goodwill, including his family members, should have only one thing to be telling him now. Papa, you have done it enough. It is time to go and rest. If we can use you for consultancy, that would be better. Other countries out of Africa can still use him for consultancy. It's not only the case of Cameroon.
Okay, Madam
So
Sylvie, I'm coming.
I think,
Yes.
honestly speaking, for some of us who used to grow up, when we used to look at President Biya's picture, we were falling in love with him. I mean, a handsome man that people have reduced, they have locked him somewhere. He cannot catch the air that some of us are catching. Let him go down to Vomeka and catch the same air. It is his right.
Okay, thank you so much.
Go on retirement.
Madam Sylvie, I'll be coming to conclude with you. Barrister, this may just be your last word. You were itching to react to what you were saying.
Yes, just to cue, at least these are the kind of young persons who want to see leadership. People who are able to say things as they are. Because when you see a young man in his 30, 40, taking the President of the Republic to be a demigod, I believe that those are even the criminals of Cameroon.
Corrupt criminal.
These are people that Cameroonians should instead arrest them. Because how can you are a young man, so you don't think that your father or great grandfather should rest and you take his seat?
Maybe he believes in the wisdom of Obia.
Which kind of wisdom? I think these are criminals. So to me, honestly speaking, we see God has blessed Cameroon so much, and I think that even Mr. Biya should even see that God loves him so much, because God is doing everything possible to make sure that he is able to quit the sin when it's still time. Because you should know when to leave. You think that God is not foolish. God knows that no, this man will still need you.
We don't want
Try to do what is needful. You should not be deceived by all those hungry calls that no, you can steal, and they frame up stories to tell you that no, they are deceiving you. Let him know when to leave. And honestly speaking, if he leaves honorably, I'm sure that Cameroon will not witness the kind of chaos that is on the way coming. Because today, we are seeing longer. Don't be surprised. Elections are coming. Reconciliation will not be an easy thing. Don't forget that so many of those instances of longer.
Thank you, Barrister.
They have their grudges. They're keeping it.
Thank you.
Let him do the needful and leave when it's necessary.
Thank you, Barrister Sylvie. Your last word? In less than a minute, please.
No, just to say that in this type of situation, leadership is key, and we are missing the leadership of our father. I want to call him father. We need to have him stand by our side. And when we say that he has to rest, it's not a punishment. It's just that we are not feeling him as we are having this difficult time. Let the leadership be there. And we want to have our father by our side in this difficult time.
Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. It was a nice time we got here. I believe our viewers were edified enough. It is here we are drawing the curtains of the program. If you missed out on anything, the rebroadcast is on Wednesday at 11 p.m. Until we meet again next Saturday, stay blessed and stay safe. Bye-bye.